Well, hello, everybody. Happy Monday, and welcome to Act 3 on CHLY 101.7 FM. I am so excited about the guest I have in the Zoom booth today. He is a fairly well-known gentleman in our community, um, and he's got a really cool story to share. So I am really delighted to bring to you Morgan Carey. He owns CareyRealEstateGroup.com, and we're going to talk about Carly's house as among other things. So welcome to the program, Morgan. How are you?
I am doing great. The sun is shining. It's a new year, and I've almost got all my steps in. If I'm looking at my little Apple Watch, I'm at 5 kilometers, so that's
Woohoo!
almost there. Almost there.
It's always wonderful to start with the sunshine, and I got to be honest with you, we've had a lot of rain, and
Hmm.
so for 2026, it is nice to see a little bit of the sun. Morgan, tell us a little bit about yourself for those that don't know who you are in our community.
Where do you want me to start?
That's anywhere you want, my friend.
Well, I mean, in terms of Nanaimo, I think I'm best known not for our real estate company, but actually for a software company that I founded called Real Estate Webmasters. We own a lot of the buildings downtown. So if you're ever downtown, you see the Real Estate Webmasters building, the Hello building, all that sort of stuff. So we've had our corporate headquarters downtown for about 22 years now.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, and so from our little town in Nanaimo, we're very proud to have earned a lot of accolades and done a lot of business here. We were Profit 500 in Canada for like 20 years in a row.
Wow.
We are the largest custom real estate technology firm in the world. We've done about $300 million in revenue in our software company. And we got a lot more attention locally, I would say, when we were on Dragon's Den. And so we have the distinction of being not just the largest deal ever on Dragon's Den, but the largest offer that was accepted on any reality television show to date. And so
Wow.
yeah, we went there asking for a $50 million valuation when we were much smaller, and we got our deal at 40 million. And then in due diligence, we turned them down, and I went and did a deal with Barbara Corcoran from the Shark Tank in the United States instead.
Oh
And
my
so,
gosh, I had no idea.
yeah, yeah. So that obviously, we were already well known in the real estate community because our customers were realtors and brokerages. Think of companies like Remax and, things like that. But mostly in the US, most of our customers were back then. Now we're about 20% Canadian, 80% US. And so yeah, the Dragon's Den thing, I went on to do a lot more TV. I did some stuff with Kathy Ireland in Los Angeles, and I've had the pleasure of, speaking internationally. Up until this past year, I would do about 30 speaking engagements a year, anywhere from Dubai to Bali to wherever there's a really awesome real estate conference with great leaders. I would go and teach technology and marketing and business management and things of that nature. So yeah, I think most people know us for real estate webmasters. But more recently, I got involved unintentionally, or I guess the final decision was intentional. But more recently, I ended up getting involved in real estate locally. So that's where the Carey Real Estate Group comes from.
I you can hear that I'm speechless because I had no idea about any of this stuff. So congratulations for all of the successes that you've seen forward. I am really delighted for you. And at the same time, I'm also saddened for you because I know that your life changed a lot in the last little while, despite having such success in the community abroad, internationally, and in throughout the United States. Something personal happened that really kicked you in the babushka.
That's a good word. Yeah, that's hence the new real estate license.
Yeah.
So the backstory is, because I'd been in real estate marketing for so long, my wife Carly, who's the love of my life, she was always interested in real estate, and we would go to all these conferences, but she wasn't in real estate. Her background was actually she was doing counseling and things of that nature for at-risk youth for like
Yeah.
the I'm a family life and that sort of stuff. Wonderful person, wonderful human being, and someone I've loved since I was 8 years old.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, we kind of grew up. We grew up together, and back in the day, I was a street kid and she used to sneak me into her mom's house. Her mom was a single mom and she would sneak me into her house and she would let me sleep in her closet when I'd run away from foster care.
Oh my. Wow.
Yeah. Anyways, so I've known her for 40 years, almost 40 years. And
Yeah.
we dated when we were young teenagers, 12, 13. And then sometimes as things go, we decided to go have fun elsewhere for a while, but we remained best friends. And then we got married and had our own kids and all that sort of stuff, but we always just remained best friends. And then a little over a decade ago, we got back together. She had invited me to a wedding in Vancouver, and I had just come back from a show with Frederick Eklund in New York. And she said, "Hey, come drop by my sister-in-law's wedding." And so I stopped by around midnight, and I've never left her side since. So
Wow.
that's kind
Wow. I love
of
that. Yeah.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
kind of that's the short
I mean, I
version
got to
of.
tell you, going to a wedding at midnight, you got to wonder what that was about, but congratulations.
Well, no. So I flew in at midnight. So
Oh,
the,
you
the
flew in.
wedding had already happened. Everyone was so the wedding was in Gastown.
Yeah.
And I probably shouldn't tell this part of the story, but I had been in New York and I had a wonderful, business thing. And then I went out with a friend afterwards. This is the night before, and we love karaoke. We do it all the time, etc.
Yeah.
And our favorite place to go is like the gay district in New York, and it's so fun. Anyway, that particular night, some guys who shouldn't have been in there came in there and started picking on some people and pushing people around and stuff. And so I decided to stand up for those guys, and that's kind of my nature. And one of them smashed a bottle across my face, sliced my face open.
Oh my God.
And when I showed up to the wedding, I had a bunch of stitches in my eye and a bunch of bandages and stuff because I'd been fighting these three guys the night before in New York. So that was my legendary kind of, and I actually got stitched up. Thank God I have status at Air Canada. They gave me my stitches at Air Canada while I was waiting
No
for my.
way.
That was crazy. So anyways, our first picture while on our nights out, I have this bandage and I'm starting to get a black eye already, and I've got these stitches in my eye, and yeah, and nobody was really surprised in her family. So, but anyways, like I said,
Oh,
she hadn't left. I haven't left her side since. Anyways, so because I was in real estate and she just met so many wonderful leaders in real estate, she was like, listen, I should really be in real estate too. So she decided to go get her license. I probably convinced her to because we buy a lot of real estate as well. And so originally she became a realtor, and in her first year she did like 10 million in sales. She did really well, and she realized, this is great, a great business, but she didn't want to just be a realtor because a lot of my clients are actually the team leaders and the brokers. And
mhm.
so that's the people who like own the businesses and stuff. And so that's who we spent a lot of time with. So we're like, okay, well, why don't you start a team? Why don't you and so she started a team, and my stepdaughter, her daughter was the first agent to join. She did 10 million in her first year. It was like, okay, this is great. We love real estate. I own this marketing company, so obviously we kind of have an unfair advantage, right? And she had this wonderful team being started. And then, unfortunately, as you say, life changed last year.
Yeah.
She has the worst birthday in the world times two now. So
Mhm.
the first part of it is she's born on January 1st, so she's always hated her birthday because
No kidding.
nobody ever wants to hang out
No,
because
because they're
everyone's
celebrating the New Year. So yeah, for sure.
exactly right.
Yeah.
And so we have this wonderful family tradition, and that is we would spend New Year's in a different country every year. So
Yeah.
we were never here. We were never here for New Year's,
Yeah.
right? Um, and so we've just had some wonderful trips, Hawaii, Italy, whatever. And this year was extra special for us, in a happy, sad way. Our youngest child was turning 18. Her birthday's also in January. And so we said, where do you want to go for your last trip before you're off to university? Her name is Araya,
Beautiful.
and it's Ariyah. Everyone always asks. So, anyways, Raya said, I want to go to Japan. And, this time, can I bring a friend? And we said, yeah, you know what? Sure. You're graduating high school, you're going to be off to college, it's your birthday. So we I'll leave the names out, but she picked a friend that she really wanted to come with her, and this young girl is very sweet. We know her very well, and she was 17 at the time as well, and she'd never been anywhere.
Yeah.
She'd never even been on a plane. So imagine you're
Oh,
this kid,
huge,
not our daughter,
excited.
our
Yeah.
daughter in trouble, but this young girl. She's like, really, I'm going to Japan as my first trip on a plane, and so they're very excited. And then we got lucky because we had some I don't know what they call them, Aeroplan points or whatever. And so we put in a bid for like upgrades to semi-business class or whatever, and the girls got the two upgrades, and so they got to sit in fancier seats, and it was a thing. It was a wonderful thing. And so we left on I think December 26th, Boxing Day, something like that. And it takes a couple of days. We stayed overnight in Vancouver, then we got up the next day to fly to Japan. And so we landed in Tokyo, and then we took the train to Kyoto, which was our first stop. And in Kyoto, we had this ryokan, and I'm not sure if you know what that is, but it's like a traditional Japanese hotel, and it's like all one room, and they have these things called tatami mats, and so those are the mats you see in like Kill Bill or karate dojos or
Yes,
whatever.
yes,
You,
yes.
you actually you sleep on these tatami mats, and they just pull out a futon, and so it was really cool. And so there we are in Kyoto. We had spent one day there. That's it. And I think it was the 29th by this point. And then the next day, the girls really wanted to go exploring temples. There's some beautiful temples and contemporary architecture and history in Kyoto. And so we walked all day. We walked probably 25, 30,000 steps at least, up mountains everywhere. And at the end of the day, the young girls wanted to go to one of those beef things, where you cook the barbecue right in front of them. You just make it, right?
Yeah.
Um, and my wife, Carly, she is not historically known for loving those places, right? So, the smoke gets in your hair, your outfit, whatever. She's not a huge meat eater. And so she said, hey, I'm really not feeling well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna opt out of dinner if that's okay. And in the back of my mind, I was like, yeah, yeah, you're just trying to get out of the whole experience, the hibachi or whatever the heck it's called. I don't know, right? So I took the girls to this beef place, and we had a good time. We came back around 9:30 at night. And Carly pulled me aside and said, I'm really not feeling well. I don't know what's going on. And so I said, okay, let's keep an eye on it. Let's see what's happening.
Yeah.
And we're lights out because we were tired, and she was rolling around really uncomfortably and starting to really, show significant signs of distress. And she pulled me aside because we're all in the same room, and she said, I need you to book me my own room. And I said, what? What's going on? Is it that serious? And she said, I need you to book me my own room. And I said, I'm calling an ambulance. It
Yeah.
was so out of character.
Yeah.
And um, in hindsight, I'm glad that's what I did because she probably would have died.
Oh,
So, Japan is interesting. If you go to Tokyo, you can kind of get along with English, but if you go other places like Kyoto, nobody speaks English.
yeah.
And I mean, that's part of the experience,
Of
right?
course, of
But,
course.
but when you're panicked and your wife is sick and you're trying to call an ambulance at midnight,
Yeah.
it's a different experience. And I want to say this up front. The Japanese are the best people I've ever encountered.
Yeah.
And they were so caring and wonderful and efficient. And so I had thought my wife's appendix burst. That was my instinct. We had done a lot of hiking. It was her abdomen that was bothering her. She hadn't eaten much, so I didn't, but it could have been food poisoning, could have been anything, right?
Yeah. And some people
But
don't have a strong disposition when they travel. Like, so you never know,
ex
right?
exactly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we get to the first hospital. And it's a smaller hospital. It's a small local hospital. And immediately inside of minutes they have her on, like, it's not like here,
Yeah.
right? There was no wait, there was no questioning, there was no immediately they had her on morphine, they had her in a scan. And they came out and they looked quite concerned and they said, we need to, um,
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
they said, we need to get her to a different hospital. There's something wrong. Um,
And at that moment, they couldn't really tell you
well, they didn't know. So,
anything. Yeah.
she's going to get mad at me for speaking out of school, but her insides were all twisted up.
Yeah.
There was something really wrong, and they didn't know what that was. They just knew. Um, and so they called us a taxi or whatever because that was going to be fastest. And they called ahead, and they had doctors waiting for us at the other hospital. I know it's I don't know 2 a.m. something. And those doctors get her into another scan, and they get her. They're taking her jewelry off and stuff. And immediately, she's in this room. It's 12 doctors and nurses and stuff, and it's the operating area. It's like she's coming in, and
Yeah.
they said you need to sign this, and I'm trying to like translate it, and that
Did
is
they
not a
provide, just sorry to interrupt you, but did they provide, was there a translation service available for you? Did you,
no.
so
No,
you were
I had
kind
to
of reading symbols,
use it.
trying to figure it out. Yeah.
No, I in Google. You take a picture with your phone and you use Google
Yeah. And it
Translate.
translates. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course
Thank God for that.
it translates to, hey, you're waiving all responsibility. You understand that your loved one could die. And I'm like, oh fuck.
Oh my God.
All right, so we're on your radio show. Hopefully
That's
there's a
okay.
beep. But anyways, they're like, we don't have time. She
Yeah.
has to she has to go into surgery. And so away she went. And I stayed in the hospital till about 6 a.m. or something like that. And they said I needed to go home and that she was going to the main operating thing so at this point we're at what's called the Kyoto University Hospital. And we were very fortunate because a university hospital is generally a really well-funded large hospital. And so there was a lot of attention and there was a lot of professionalism. And so, but the crazy thing was we were set to check out of that ryokan that day at 10 a.m. And the Japanese they're very kind, but they're also very punctual.
Yes,
So,
for sure. They've got other things. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Other
And
people.
so here I am,
Yeah.
6 in the morning, trying to take a cab, go see the girls, the young girls, and check us out. I haven't slept, and and I'm they're asking me what's wrong, and I don't know, and they're asking me.
So I'm sure that the girls seeing you the way that you probably were, much like you are now, and for our listeners, and I understand that our YouTube station has this on video, so it's a little different. But for those on the radio that don't have the luxury of the visual, this is a very moving conversation, and without a doubt, there's some emotion attached to it. So when you hear pauses on a radio program, there's nothing wrong. We'll just hold space for our friend.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, the girls want to know what's going on, and the dad and me wants to lie.
Of course. I mean that with as a mom and a grandmom, you're right.
And
Y- yeah,
but I didn't think I was getting her back.
yeah,
It wasn't those doctors knew there was something really wrong.
yeah,
And so I don't speak Japanese, but I can read people.
yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and so
It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out when there's something really serious happening, regardless of the language. There's a
yeah,
mood of the room, there's a feel of the environment. So
yeah.
I'm curious, what happened with the girls then? Did you take them back to the hospital? Did you get
So
them set up? What happened next?
I packed them up.
Yeah,
We were picked up before 10 because I'm punctual too. And I wasn't allowed back to the hospital, or well, not about, it wasn't about allowed. They needed to call me when she got out of surgery, right? And
sure,
so
sure.
we had another hotel which was already planned, which was 30 minutes away. And so I took the girls and I checked them into the new hotel, and then I left and went back to the hospital.
Yeah,
Uh,
So when you went back to the hospital, how long, first of all, how long was the surgery? And what was that? We talk about the efficiencies of all things.
Yeah,
How did that go?
I think I saw her around 3 p.m.
Sure.
I think that's when I was allowed to see her.
So she'd been
Uh,
in surgery for several hours by then.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so she was in the ICU, the intensive care unit.
Yeah.
Um, and no fault of the Japanese hospital because I know this is all hospitals. There was a lot of paperwork
Yeah.
and conversations again through Google Translate. It's very hard. You watch this on TV sometimes on drama shows, but it's real.
Yeah.
You're a panicked, loved one, and you don't know what's going on, and yet they're like, you need to sign this document. Um, I came to learn later on that the Japanese and many countries struggle with foreign patients because they don't get paid, and they're like, how are you going to pay for this? This might be, a lot of money. And
Hundreds
I
of
was like,
dollars.
I'm
Yeah.
just like, I don't care about the money. I don't want to talk about it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Of course.
and 14 days later, the bill was $100,000. So it was a lot of money.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
and I do want to give a shout out, actually. I should at this point to American Express because I have coverage at work, um, not through American Express, and it was almost impossible to even try to get an answer. And American Express was so kind and patient. And as far as I know, I haven't heard otherwise. They're paying the bill because we had medical insurance through our American Express. So if you are ever traveling, take this cautionary note that you should have an American Express. I will be a loyal customer for life. I know it's not meant to be a commercial, but
No, but I'm not taking it as a commercial. You have to, we get our tips and our tricks from a life experience. And, many people travel the world. I and myself love to travel. I spend a lot of time, on a plane or on a bus or somewhere going somewhere. And so there's nothing wrong with doing a shout out where that, especially when it comes to our health, because the healthcare around the world is a challenge, right?
it's scary.
At the end
Yeah,
of the day, you go back. The girls are in the hotel room. You go back.
yeah.
It's been several days now, and you're
No, no, this is the
still.
next day.
This
This
is the
is the
next
next
day.
day after
Okay.
dropping her off. So we've been in Japan for a few days, but
Yeah, yeah,
I drop her off at whatever. I leave her at about 3 in the morning or whatever, leave the
yeah.
hospital around 6. And I see her again. So I see her about 12 hours later at
Okay,
about 3
okay,
p.m. About 3 p.m.
okay.
But she's sleeping, of course.
Yeah.
Like she's you know like comatose. Just major, major surgeries. And those details don't matter, but uh, the um, the crazy thing, and I did not understand this. I think I was in shock. Um, again, I think because they impressed me so much, not impressed, but they made such an impression on me.
Hmm.
I talk about the Japanese people, and so what I know of Japanese culture, and which is a decent amount, they are a very reserved culture that don't show emotions.
Yes.
Um, Not that they don't have them.
No,
I've
no, no.
come
Of
to
course, it's just
yeah,
brought into them differently.
yeah, I've come to learn that they love very deeply.
Yeah.
Um,
Agreed.
so this doctor, with very kind eyes, he was the one he could kind of speak English, and he was the one who performed the surgery. And I don't know if he told me.
Hmm.
Um, I think he did. I don't remember, but like he knew it was cancer before we ever had a diagnosis, right? He was an oncologist. But I didn't really understand. But he walked me downstairs and
Yeah.
he gave me his home phone number.
Wow.
And he said, I have daughters. And he said, this is going to be really hard. And he said, my wife already knows your story. And he said, if your daughters need to talk to my daughters, this is my phone number.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Well,
And I didn't
yeah,
understand. I didn't understand.
yeah.
He just kept saying he was sorry.
So in those moments, I'm sure that there was a part of you not only questioning what's next, but would there be a next?
Uh, I didn't I didn't get from them like it was a disconnect,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah,
upstairs they were telling me the surgery was a success,
yes,
right? So upstairs I felt okay. He was the doctor and he was walking me downstairs and then I didn't understand why this like 60-year-old man who was a professional and a doctor had tears in his eyes.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
The
I
compassion that he felt for you.
yeah. So anyways, later that day I came to find out that they had removed a massive tumor from my wife's abdomen. And when they were in there, they had discovered that it appeared there was a lot of tumors in her,
Yeah,
not just in that local area. They were they were everywhere.
yeah,
Um, and so a bit of a backstory that I didn't share is that my wife, who is my best friend and has been my whole life, when she was 18, she had Hodgkin's lymphoma, and she she was living with a single mom who was also a social worker, and they had, sorry, my phone is beeping at me.
that's
Um,
no worries at all.
they had to drive back and forth to Victoria so she could do, radiation, etc. And this poor woman, especially now that I understand what she was going through, had to leave her other child at home, and she had to drive back and forth as a single mom from Nanaimo to Victoria, which is 2 hours each
Yeah,
way, the
you
cost.
betcha. Yeah,
And it's not like they could afford to stay over in Victoria for treatment, etc.,
yeah,
or that she could afford to take time off work or anything like that.
yeah.
Anyways, back in the day, I mean, Carly was not worried. Carly's my wife. She was not worried about dying. She just had so much energy and she kind of felt, whatever. And it was Hodgkin's lymphoma back then. That's actually one of the good ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And so all us friends, we all shaved our heads, to support.
Yeah.
She has long, beautiful hair, and but it was fine. She was in remission, and she stayed in remission.
That was when
From
she was younger.
Yeah,
That's not a
this
basic
is when she,
heart. This
yeah,
is back
yeah. So
then. Yeah,
this is
yeah,
when she was 18, and she stayed in remission from
yeah.
the time she was 18 until the day she was 46.
Yeah.
And the exact day, because on the day she had her surgery was January 1st, which is her birthday.
Mm. So
So,
that now takes us back round to the 2 days of January, the two events of
right?
January,
Exactly.
right? Right.
Um, and so,
Yeah.
um, so just I spent I think 14 days total with her in Japan.
Yeah.
The kids, so visiting hours at 30 minutes at the hospital. I wasn't having that, of course, and I kept sneaking in and but what I would do is
Love it.
I would spend my mornings with the girls, helping them plan, helping them do whatever, and then giving them some money. And then, I mean, they're 17 now, right? And almost 18. And so I'd shown them how to run the trains and do all the things. And so,
Yeah, they could do it.
yeah. And so they did fun stuff. They went to different cities like Nara
Wow.
and one time I went back and I grabbed them. So I would go, visiting hours started at 2 o'clock. So I'd usually be there from like 2 to 5 or whatever. And one day I kidnapped them and we went to Osaka, which is another huge city in Japan.
Mhm.
We went to the original and the largest Pokemon store, which is
Woo.
just, we did all kinds of fun stuff. Actually on New Year's, Oh, so I think the surgery was New Year's Eve, actually, now that I think about it. The next day was New Year's. So it was New Year's Day, that's right. The girls really wanted me to, or they didn't want me to, they wanted to go get custom kimonos, right? So it's like a tradition you can do. You can go to Kyoto or anywhere and you can get kimonos. And of course, they're really good at upselling you to the fancy ones. And
Of course.
I wasn't about to tell these young girls that I wasn't going to get them the fancy kimonos, but then they're like, "You have to wear one too." And so we did the whole thing. I got a kimono. We had these wooden shoes, and we ended up doing like 25,000 steps in these uncomfortable wooden shoes.
Good for
Um,
you.
but I brought the girls in the kimonos to the hospital, and we went and saw Carly. That was the first time they saw her.
Yeah.
And yeah, we did our best. And then the I had left the girls, not left. The girls were in the fancy hotel that we had moved to,
Yeah.
and I had rented another hotel close to the hospital.
Yeah.
So the girls kind of got to be a little bit removed and didn't have to deal with all the business stuff. I was time zones and everything, trying to get insurance going, trying to figure
Of
out,
course.
trying to talk to doctors in Canada.
Yeah.
And then eventually, about 7 days in or so in the hospital, um, we were due to go home. Like that was our scheduled flights, and so our flights were back from Tokyo. And so I told Carly, I said, I need to go for a day. My wife, I said, I got to take the kids to Tokyo.
Yeah.
Uh, and she didn't care. She was out of it. She
Oh,
was,
of
she was
course.
in,
She's
in shock,
recovering. Yeah.
everything. She was
Sleeping,
happy.
recovering. Yeah.
Yeah, she was happy for them.
Yeah.
So I tried to make the most of it. We took the train back to Tokyo. We had one night in Tokyo. I took the girls to karaoke, which was a blast. And I let them drink sake, even though they were only 17.
Oh, good for
Um,
them. Yeah.
we
Good
had,
for
we
you.
had a, we had a great time, and then I helped them carry their bags all the way to the airport. And I don't know why I was worried because they're great kids, but they had to check themselves in, and they had to fly all the way home by themselves because I was staying.
Yeah.
And so I sent the girls home, I think around the 9th or the 10th or something like that. I can't remember what day.
Yeah.
And then I took the train back the same day to Kyoto, and I stayed several more days in Kyoto until Carly got out of the hospital. And then I transported her. I think we stayed in Kyoto maybe 1 or 2 days. I can't remember. Transported her back to Tokyo. And then we got a very, very nice hotel because my wife needed to rest, and so we stayed in this beautiful hotel. I think it's called the Imperial Palace or some crazy hotel. But
Yeah.
after everything she'd been through, she needed
Of
a
course.
comfortable hotel with a beautiful view because she wasn't going anywhere, and she couldn't really move at this point. She had a lot of stitches and things, and
Yeah.
uh,
Certainly not ready to fly home with that
yeah,
kind of, yeah.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
maybe 4 or 5 days later, we booked a bed on a plane back. We needed to make sure she had a bed. We flew her back to Vancouver and then ferried over to Nanaimo. And we sat and waited for the worst news of our life.
How long was the wait?
It was excruciating. It was weeks. I feel like the
Yeah.
problem was it was a holiday
Right.
and, and it was cancer and it was a specialist and whatever.
Yeah.
And and it didn't seem right to them. And so I feel like they were double checking and triple checking. And it's very confusing and very stressful. And then eventually we got a diagnosis, and the diagnosis was stage 4 mantle cell lymphoma.
Wow.
And
So stage 4 mantle cell lymphoma means that the
it's
cancer has gone through all the lymphs, all of the entirety of
yeah,
the
so
body. Or,
yeah, that confuses people sometimes.
yeah, just
Usually
out of curiosity. Sorry to.
no, it's okay. No, it's okay. We've learned a lot about this stuff.
Mhm.
So blood cancers are a little different, but typically the stages refer to
Yeah.
above and below the median line of your body. So let's say your diaphragm. So
Yeah.
let's say if you have tumors above and below
Yeah.
your diaphragm, you're stage 4. Stage 3 is you have tumors in just the above or below, but they're in multiple places. Stage 2 is there's a main spot and just some around, and then stage one is just in one spot. So stage four means yes, it's spread throughout your body. It's absolutely what it means.
Yeah.
Um, and of course, Carly Googled it, which I don't recommend anyone doing.
Oh, agree.
Um, and if you Google it, it says it's in a rare and aggressive form of cancer that is always fatal.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you wrap yourself around that? I don't know if anyone really can.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
so we didn't want to believe it. That's where we went from thinking Japan had the best medical of, people in the world to being like, ah, they're wrong. It's got to be Hodgkin's again. It's got to.
Yeah. 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 The denial factor doesn't leave you when it's someone you love. It
Yeah.
can't be
And
true.
so
It can't be real.
we have some friends who are doctors, which is nice. That was,
Yeah.
she especially has a great friend named Bridget who was there to help talk her through, like, don't listen to Dr. Google, etc. And
Yeah. And thank you, Bridget.
um, yeah, and so
Seriously, thank you, Bridget.
yeah, right. And so we needed a second opinion. But
Yeah.
the problem is that they had removed all of the material in Japan, or all of the and so it was a massive effort, not just language wise, but policy wise, etc., to try to get the biological material sent back to Canada so that we could have the BC Cancer Society. And because it didn't match up, because mantle cell lymphoma is typically a cancer that's only seen in men above 70.
Yeah.
And so she's a young, otherwise healthy woman, and it didn't make sense. I mean, yes, it can happen, but it's incredibly rare.
Yeah.
Uh, and so we just hoped they were wrong. Um, and they weren't.
And they weren't.
No.
So fast forward to now. It's been
Yeah.
a year.
No, it got worse. I hate to say
Oh
it.
no.
Yeah. Yeah, it got
Okay.
worse. So,
Oh no.
yeah, reconciling all of that was an impossible task, but we tried to move forward. And so the next best thing is this notion that at least it's the kind of cancer that's really interesting to scientists and doctors. And so there was a lot of medical trials that people have a lot of hope for. Like the hope is you live long enough that these medical trials, one of them will work and there will be a cure in the future, and there isn't now. And
Yeah.
so she got accepted into a medical trial in Vancouver, and it was one of the best. And it was very exciting. And the doctor, his name was Diego Villa. He was so fun. He was just happy-go-lucky, great guy, super credible, etc. And so there's your hope, right? There's your optimism. Maybe this medical trial will be the one. And so we were over in Vancouver, and this matters because this kind of leads into the project we're actually talking about. But it was difficult. We had to go over a bunch and we had to stay, and there was the cost of staying in hotels, and we've done very well for ourselves. We're, for all intents and purposes, we're a wealthy couple and we don't have money problems, and so that wasn't a factor, but it was still really inconvenient to have to go to Vancouver all the time and to stay in a hotel and for her to not be in her own bed and our pets and our
Yes.
family, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And our child was in the last year of high school, and we're trying to be there for her. And so the last test, which needed to be done before she could start the trial in earnest, the medicine, they had to do a bone marrow biopsy.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's not fun.
No.
And so they did that, and she was supposed to start the next day. And we got a phone call that said, you need to come in. And that was before she was supposed to start. And they said, we're really sorry, but you've been disqualified from the trial. And we said, why?
No kidding.
And turns out she's She's a medical miracle in all the wrong ways. And so she has a second cancer called CLL, which is chronic lymphocytic leukemia. And so she wasn't able to participate in the trial.
Oh my God.
Then we were back to square one. No treatment plan. Now we're months in. She'd been sick probably for 2 years, but we didn't know, right?
Well,
But
the one thing I do know about cancer, depending on where you are, is that there are certain forms of cancer that there is no detection until you're down near too late. Like it's phenomenal how many cancers are invisible until they're not.
yeah, well, in hindsight, we probably, I mean, who knows? But
Hindsight is always 2020 though, isn't it?
yeah. So
Yeah.
anyways, now we're almost 6 months, I think, past diagnosis,
Yeah.
and we have no treatment plan because we were all in on this clinical trial. And fortunately, we got hooked up with Dr. McPherson in Victoria. And again, now she's ironically even more interesting to the doctors because she has two kinds of cancer that, you know what I mean? It's insane.
Totally.
But they prioritized her and she got into treatment. She told them they wanted to start a little earlier, and she said, I want to see my daughter graduate."
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So we went to graduation, beginning of June or whatever it is, and then the next day she started the heaviest chemo you can do. And that's the one thing she's lucky for, I guess, is because she's young. She's strong enough to tolerate the heaviest chemo you can do. And so we spent the next through till mid-September in, this cycle of switching every 3 weeks from one kind of chemo to the next because there's two different kinds of cancers. And so she was on something called DHAP, um, and then also CHOP R, which is a more common form of rituximab. But anyways, it was fucking horrible. I'm sorry, I swore again. Um,
I think it's okay this time and the last time too. Cancer is something that unless you're experiencing it, especially the way you are right now, it devastates families, it devastates people. There are so many of our listeners, Morgan, that are resonating with you right now in
yeah.
ways that we have no idea.
Oh,
Uh,
and I mean, I've seen that. I mean, if I
it's
talk about it being
phenomenal.
fortunate, like, we've had so much support, tens of thousands of people reach out to us
Yeah.
personally and, chat,
Yes.
text, whatever. It's been amazing.
But
Um,
it doesn't make the pain go away. It
yeah.
doesn't take away like, you're going through something that no one should be going through.
Yeah,
She's going through something that no one should be going through.
it's true. But it is also life, right?
Yeah.
And we have good news, right?
And we have good
Let's
news.
well let's interject good news.
Let's do that.
And
Yeah.
so the way it works, so we're not an anomaly, but we'll take it, is typically mantle cell responds well the first time to chemo. And so she is in full remission as of mid-September.
Woo! I say
Yeah.
I'm hearing people in their cars clapping as they're driving down the road. People are
Yeah,
listening and they're clapping. Oh my God, that is such good news.
it is. And so, at that point with that news, she had lost all her gains in the gym. She had lost all her hair. She had lost her sense of self, her career, everything at the time. And so now we get this gift of remission. I think the average is around 2 years. And so we know cancer's coming back.
Yeah, but you have a
We,
breath.
but
You
we do.
have time for a breath.
Yeah. And we've had a lot of time. And I forgot an important part of the story. And that is when she was finally able to speak to me. And she had been laying there by herself thinking. And I've told this story on your TV show before. She said two things to me. She said, one, I want to have dinners every Sunday with the family.
Yeah.
And two, I want to find a way to give back more. And
Yeah.
the backstory there, she's always been community minded. She's always been charity minded from her volunteer counseling for at-risk youth all the way through to our real estate practice. She's always donated to the Nanaimo Hospital Foundation and whatnot. And so I wasn't in a position to say no, of course. How could I say no? Um,
Of course.
and so when we got back, even before she had gone into heavy chemo, she's like Barney Perry Ellis, who's a great friend of ours. He's the CEO of the hospital foundation. Barney had said, "Hey, we're trying to raise some money for a spec CT machine, the kind of machine that would have detected this cancer early." And so we said, "How can we help?" And we invented a program called Homes for Life, where our real estate team donates a percentage of all of our sales back into the Nam Hospital Foundation. But we did a lot more than that. We helped them. Carly became their star. We did something called Fit Check for Cancer, which Carly was the figurehead for. And so there was thousands of people doing fit checks for cancer, and businesses were donating money every time someone did a fit check. There was the soiree by the sea, which was, Carly helps out with, etc. And not only did the $2.9 million get raised for the CT machine, I'm pretty sure it got overfunded. So,
Wow.
and Barney was happy to share with us that it was the most successful campaign that they've ever run, in terms of traffic, in terms of donations, in terms of anything. And in that process, I got to see how happy it made my wife to be a part of something while she could. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
There was no way she was working. There was no way she was doing anything. There's
Yeah.
no way she was traveling. And by being able to participate in giving back, it gave her hope, it gave her purpose. And that's how, ironically, I mentioned earlier in the show, that's how I ended up in real estate, is she didn't want to give up on the real estate team that she had built, but she wasn't able to be a team leader anymore. And so when we were in the hospital getting chemo, I took the real estate exam so I could get a license and take over her team. And so that's where the Carey Real Estate Group comes in. The brand for the Carey Real Estate Group is actually a team with purpose.
Yeah.
And it is so named because we care most about giving back to the community in our founder's honor. But anyways, it was so great to see how happy it made her when somebody made a donation or someone was shared something on social, right? It was the only thing that made her happy. Well, and obviously our daughter graduating and
I was going to say, and
you
your
know,
daughter, and
yeah.
the joy. I mean, I think we all know that people often who have the least to give, whether it's in physical body or whatever, they just tend to step up to plate so much in community. I constantly see people that have come from rough backgrounds or have difficult stories or life experiences, and they show up in ways that are just unbelievably beautiful, paying life forward in such a brilliant way. I
Yeah.
know that I could talk to you for hours, Carrie. I could easily. And so we may end up having this as a two-part show, but for the
Sure,
first part
sure.
of it, right?
We should probably get to the point
We
though.
got as much as I don't want to, I know that we've only got like 5 minutes left, so I don't want to lose our time with that. But I didn't get a chance to tell people how to reach you, so I think we need to do that right off the get-go to make sure that that stays part of it. How do people find you, Morgan?
Find me on social.
Find
My
you
name's
on
Morgan
social.
Carey.
Morgan
It's super
Carey.
easy. It's careyrealestategroup.com, but don't do that. Just find me on Facebook. I'm an old
Okay.
person. Um,
You are a real person, and arguably, in my experience with you, you've been on my show twice now on Act Three on Rogers. This is the first time for our radio show. It won't be the last. There's something that I felt when I met you right off the get-go is that your kindness and your humility and your transparency to talk about stuff that hurts is so unbelievably beautiful and so unbelievably welcome. All of us wish we had people like you on our side. So thank you from the start. Thank you. So with the few minutes we have left that I just
all
took,
right.
sorry, how about
No
if you tell
problem.
us a little
So,
bit about Carly's house?
yeah. So, I mean, as I said, giving back makes my wife happy, and that's all I really care about these
Of course.
days. And so, when my great friend, my 30-year friend Jeff Patey, told me that his mom's house was going to go up for sale, and I knew the house and I had seen it. And originally I was like, "Oh, I'll just buy it for a rental and reno it." And then when I went back to look at it, I realized that it it had a ramp because she had some accessibility issues. It had the bars. It had.
Yeah.
I thought, you know what? All those conversations that we've had about how nice it is for us to be able to be home. Or this horrible conversation that we had where Carly shared with me that a man turned down treatment because he could not afford to travel to Nanaimo and stay over for treatment, just like her when she was 18.
Yeah.
I realized we don't have anything for people. We are so lucky. And so I bought the house that day and I decided to donate it for the use of cancer patients to stay with their families. So it's not a novel concept. I mean, I'm ripping off the Ronald McDonald House as much as I can. I
Don't
know that.
reinvent the wheel. It's
Yeah,
not
I know.
necessary. It works.
Exactly. Exactly. So in big cities, there are more support. If you're in Vancouver, then there's these wonderful stories of hope and there's these wonderful stories of community, and you can stay with your sick children or your sick spouse. And it's amazing. But we're a small community here on Vancouver Island and in Nanaimo, and there's nothing like it here. And there's nothing for cancer patients. And so we wrote the check personally for $500,000 to buy the base house. And then we did a budget with I have my friend Donna from Bob Wall Contracting helping me with some of the contracting, and her brother-in-law James Tonesey. It was going to be another 400,000 or so to do the renovations that it would take to make it like really. It's an older house, right?
Yeah, need a little love. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It
Yeah.
needs windows. It needs an HVAC system that will clean the air so that the patients have. And as soon as I shared the idea with a few people, they said, "I'm in. What do you need?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, I need everything. I need $400,000 because I just spent 500,000 of my own money, and we're only halfway there." And just the most beautiful thing happened. My friend Dave, again, almost 30 years friends. He owns Norm's Mobile Services. He said, "Morgan, I know you just did a job with us. I want to give you $2,500 cash, and any plumbing that the house needs is donated by Norm's Plumbing." Uh,
Wow.
Susan, whose daughter went to school with our daughter Araya, she owns I Am Millwork, and she said, "Hey, you're going to need new cabinets for those new bathrooms. We're going to donate them."
Wow.
People I didn't even know who were connected to our friends. A guy named David who owns a gutters company. I wish I knew the company's name. I haven't done business with them before. He said, "Hey, I know you're going to need new gutters. The gutters are on us."
Wow.
And it has just been. I get to send these texts
Yeah.
to my wife, and I get to see her smile. And we have a little group chat with Barney, who's the CEO, our friend from the Animal Hospital Foundation. And just the other day, we finalized a memorandum of understanding. This is the big news with the Nanaimo Hospital Foundation. And so they are now able to help us receive donations and provide charitable receipts. And so they're going to be helping us identify the patients that will be staying at the home. And anyone who wants to donate will be able to go to the Nanaimo Hospital Foundation, and in the drop down, which might not be out yet, but just keep your eyes out.
Will do.
Anyone who wants to donate money, you can just go. I mean, we need money. We got to pay rent. We got to, we got to do Wi-Fi and and power, and it's the operation's probably 70 or $80,000 a year to keep it going once it's
Of course, of course.
but that's low, and the reason it's low is because we have like seven cleaning companies who have all said every time you need turnover, we'll do it for free, right? My landscaper said anytime the lawn needs to be cut, we'll do it for free. And I cannot tell you how happy it makes my wife
Well, I cannot tell you
to send a text.
how happy it makes all of us to know that there's people like you and Carly in our community doing all that you're doing. Unfortunately, I have to say goodbye for this part of our episode of Act Three. My prayer is that you will not only tune in, but you will reach out to Morgan Carey. And if you can, find a moment to learn more about
Carly
Carey,
said,
your pardon, Carly's house, not Carey's
it's
house,
confusing.
Carly's house.
Carly Carey, yeah.
Um, to find out a little bit more. And if you can help, I encourage you to help. Thanks again for watching and for listening to Act 3 on CHLY 101.7 FM. I'm Kathy Holmes. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.